Okay, got another bonus episode. This time we got Dustin Nickerson. He was introduced to me through Jimmy Calloway. Jimmy threw a lot of comics in the mix, which is really appreciated. And I'm actually, speaking of that, I got one more comic I have all ready to go for the following week. And then after that, I don't have anybody else. Apparently, it's actually very hard to get comics to record themselves for like 5 minutes to give advice. So if anybody has any comics that they think would give good advice or would want to hear, I guess just get in contact with me and help me get in contact with them so it's not creepy. And I don't usually comment on the advice itself, but with this one in particular, with Dustin's advice, it actually really rings true to me, and it hits me in a place where I'm like, yeah, that is really important advice. And if you listen to my podcast and once you listen to his advice, you'll know what I mean. But thanks for doing this, Dustin, and here we go.
Hi, this is Dustin Nickerson, stand-up comedian or former stand-up comedian, currently under quarantine. Now I just make memes and do podcast requests and whatever I can do. But alas, maybe again I'll do it someday. Thanks for listening to this, and thanks for Aaron for asking me to give some advice to comics. It's a daunting thing. I'm sure, I've listened to a few episodes, and I know a lot of the advice is going to be the same, and that's because a lot of the advice for stand-up comedy, a lot of guys who've been in it for a while have told you the same things, and it's tried and true wisdom, which is just to outwork everyone, to go on stage as much as you can, to work and grind, and to be creative, and to be authentic and genuine to who you are, and to not compare. All huge lessons. Look at your own career. The only person you should compare yourself is to your previous self, so on and so forth. All good stuff. I just wanted to share one quick one that was kind of a revelation for me. A few years ago, this would have been probably, come the end of 2016, maybe 2017, I don't remember the exact year, and I was a few years in, and I was reflecting on my previous year's goals, and I had hit some of them, and, I hadn't hit others, and I was looking ahead. I don't like to necessarily set resolutions, but, you set these goals for the year that you want to accomplish, and they were things like, I want to get past it such and such club. I want to have this many TV appearances. I want to go into these festivals. And I got discouraged because a lot of those things didn't happen. And they didn't happen not necessarily because of me, but because other people didn't pick me for those things. And that was kind of a revelation for me, and it would be my encouragement to any other comic of when you look about what your goals are, any goal you have shouldn't be in the hands of anybody else. There should be no gatekeepers to your goals. There might be some people that can help you and enhance what you're trying to do, but the point of a goal is that it has to be something that you can achieve by your work ethic, by your talent, by your determination. And when you say something like, hey, I want to be on Conan, or I want someone to buy my pilot, those are great ideas, and those are things that if you desire them, you should achieve for. But ultimately, the booker of these things shouldn't be the one to determine whether or not you feel good about your progress in your comedy career. That a goal shouldn't have another gatekeeper. And so I switched to a mindset of, I'm only going to set goals that are based on things that I can control. So they were based on how often I was going to write and how often I was going to get on stage, on any form of stage. If I wasn't booked, then I was going to do open mics. And I was going to set out to record an hour. I was going to set out to write more genuinely and authentically. Things that I knew I was going to set out to start a podcast. I was going to set out, all these things that were totally in my control, as opposed to just setting something out there and hoping that, the booker for JFL liked my tape. And then that meant I got an audition. And then the people who were there at the audition liked what I did there. And then they picked me for the next round and the next round. I mean, the idea that you would put like new faces down as a goal in some ways is laughable, because it is something that you should desire, but it shouldn't necessarily be a hard goal, because there's too many people who then get to determine whether or not you reach your goal. And so I really enjoy that, because I oftentimes come back to this mantra of when I get a no, when a club says no, when a TV booker says no, when somebody passes on the pilot, whatever it may be, I just tell myself, well, all I can do is my next set. That's all I can do. All I can do is just get on stage and do the best that I can and write as personally and authentically and genuinely as I can. And and go from there. The one of the biggest comedy influences in my life is a guy named Zoltan Cassis, and Zoltan has always been a huge influence to me, and a lot of it comes from just looking at a point of contentment that he has in his career, and also kind of a independent maverick kind of spirit to the things that he's doing, which is, listen, if people are going to say no to me, it's not going to stop me from doing the things that I want to do. If I want to go headline in Nashville and there's no comedy club that's going to book me there, then I'm just going to put on my own show. I'm just going to do my own thing. So that'd be my encouragement to anyone listening, is just trying to keep as much of this in your own hands, and let your goals be the things that you get to determine, and nobody else. All right, I hope this is helpful to you guys, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but thanks for listening. Thanks for asking me to do this, Aaron.